That would be the retail. And so key takeaways from our proposal, which was much longer last night. We are creating 8,400 square feet of local retail. We are creating 90 permanent new jobs through his operation. He currently employs 400 people. 90% of those people are DC residents. We have a long-term exclusive agreement with him. We have larger units. We have more workforce housing than most of the other proposals. 34 units of 2 bedrooms or 3 bedrooms, up to 1,300 square foot. We have 30% of our units are affordable. And we're also partnered with Fundrise, which is going to allow people in the neighborhood and the immediate community to invest into the project with amounts as little as $100 to $500. That's it, thank you. Good. All the time. They used to call me Speedy Gonzalez.
Questions on the part of members of the commission?
So you decided against not showing that cool animation that you...
We do have it, but we ran out of time. So if you want to see it, it's only 15 seconds.
Other questions on the part of members of the commission? Any questions from members of the audience? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And now we move on to 4 points.
Sure, that's fine, in there. And we're adapted from Richard Lake here.
Is it the same one? No, you have a different one.
Good evening. We're 4 Points Development and Warrenton Group.
Yeah,
And
well, you started last
we've got
night.
2. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so
Okay.
I just wanted to talk really quickly.
Yeah.
I didn't realize as we were talking last night, I didn't mention the fact that I built this very school and recreation center as owner's rep for the District of Columbia. This sort of started off some of the Sonoma stuff, as well as finishing up 2M Street. And I realized just how much of a minority partner I am in 2M Street when I got shown Emma, who's our new resident manager at 2M Street. She's a British pit bull. I'm sorry, bulldog. So I'd hand that card around. But we're here tonight to talk about 9th and O Street or 8th and O Street, and I'm going to give them.
So this is a rendering of our project, and we'll take just a couple minutes to highlight a few things about the project. One thing that you'll notice is that our project is different than the other 3 proposals in that we're partnered with Scripture Cathedral Church, which is the church that's immediately to the west of the parcel 23 in question. So that is the view of our 9th Street face, and then as you go across from right to left, that is O Street. And then Andre can show the next slide, which shows the image from the rear looking, from the south looking back north on the property. This is a 172 unit project. 17 of those units are affordable. We have 135 spaces below grade. Of that, 25 of those spaces are dedicated for the use of the Immaculate Conception Church, and we're having some technical difficulties sliding down the page, but we'll get to the rendering is on the back. The renderings are on the back of that handout as well. We have
Sorry, keep going.
I can go over and do it. We have about 11,000 square feet of retail on the ground floor, and we'll see that I have no idea what just happened to my computer. Sorry. You'll have to look at the back rendering on the page. I'm sorry about that. But we've highlighted a number of other options about the project on the handout. If you want to take a look at that. In addition to the ground floor retail, we've got a double height retail space there, so we've got the opportunity to expand that retail to have mezzanine level space. One of the things we've talked with the ANC about and with neighborhood groups about is a desire to have a full service gym as part of this project. And a mezzanine level space really works well with the gym to be able to take advantage of that space and lift some of that activity up into the mezzanine level as well as into the lower level. So we've highlighted that. That was one of the items that was not particularly clear from our presentation last night. Additionally, we have a large community room, which is space that we are proposing to be primarily used to take opportunity for partnership with Immaculate Conception Church. There's the rear elevation, so you can see the rooftop amenities and the way that the project steps back as you go from the south to the north, where you've got the balconies at the 4th and 5th level there. So the community room, as I was saying, is a space that would be for Immaculate Conception to use for receptions, for wedding receptions and various other activities with the school, as well as for community meetings like this one. So, as I said, with that, we're really available to, unless Warren wanted to add anything else.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that it was clear that we plan on keeping the alley open, that's currently open. We may want to widen it a little bit in our current plan. We'll have to come back and revisit. And that we are offering more than 20,000 square feet of retail, much more than any of the other groups. And so that will just close.
Okay.
Any questions?
So,
I have a more comment. So, I mean, not that I dislike it terribly, it just bothers me still. There's no like real guarantee about the church parcel. And I reached out to the church, and I got a call from the son, and said the father was gonna call, but he didn't call. And it seems very up in the air. And as one of Frank's constituents said last night, it is a very big project. So that's, and then the reality is that we are only asked to look at the government land, so not the church part. So, I mean, that's just my.
No, that's very fair, and we'd be happy to connect any of the commissioners with the church's attorney. He's handling the closing. He's also a title attorney or title company, so he's handling the closing, and he can talk to that. But we think that, and as we highlighted in greater detail last night, we think that there's a lot of efficiency that's gained by combining the parcels, particularly since you've got a 10-foot wide alley, which is very narrow, being able to add 5 feet on either side, being able to accommodate all of the commercial loading functions from interior to the site, rather than having any of those facing onto 8th Street or O Street. It just allows for a lot better circulation and gives a lot more flexibility for providing the types of retail, more of the getting away from some of the smaller restaurant bar concepts and providing more of a full service gym, pet stores, hardware stores, those kinds of service retail that is right now not as prevalent in the neighborhood. But to be able to bring those in, we need to be able to provide a little bit deeper retail bays and a little bit more loading, which would be able to be handled from the alley side. So we think there's a lot of efficiency, but we understand the concern, and we'd be happy to connect you with the church's attorney.
I tried.
Now,
I called him back, and I waited, and I said, call me by today, tonight. And the phone call didn't happen.
fair enough.
other questions from members of the commission? Questions from members of the audience? Yes, in the back.
Something I said last night, I'm the third house down in Little Hologram there, it's a 2-story house on 8th Street. This project is way too big for 8th Street. It destroys the neighborhood. And I think if you're gonna put something like this in, you might as well tear down the 10 houses that are in my block. To put a 9-story behemoth next to a 2-story house is completely the opposite of what the DC Council now says they're all about, which is maintaining neighborhoods. This will destroy the neighborhood. I mean, it's something you would see in Dubai, it's something you would see in Hong Kong. It's not something you want to show.
Got a lot of it to
It's
show.
funny.
I'm actually
I mean, it's funny if you don't live there, but it's not
Oh,
funny if you live there.
I've been in the community for a long time. Yeah.
Well, why don't you move into my house? Actually, you can buy it, because
So
I'd
do
like
we-
to sell it to you.
So to be clear, I live on the 1500 block of 8th Street, directly across an alley from what is now an 8-story building that's Jefferson at Marketplace. So reality is that you live
I
near
live
a
across
development
the
site,
street from an
you are,
8-story, yes,
you
across the
are going
street.
to be in a circumstance
too
where if
dense.
someone really
This
wants
is
to look
way too
down
dense.
on you, they will be able to look down on you.
This is
Because
way,
people-
this is way too dense for the neighborhood. There will be no neighborhood if this goes,
No,
it's too
and,
dense, it's
and
too
the,
much.
on the other issue, your home and the other buildings on that block that are contributing structures to the Shaw Historic District cannot be
It's
demolished.
not historic.
It's
It
not
is-
historic at all, in
That's
fact.
right.
No,
Your,
it's not historic.
the balance of the block is in the Shaw Historic
Yeah.
District
Let
and
me
is
just say
historically
that
protected.
one of my neighbors has a shell a couple of doors down. He appeared before the zoning board a few years ago, and he showed how there had been so many changes to those houses that they were in fact, had no historic value. And he was able to get a zoning for another, an extra floor to be put on so they can create condos.
Right,
He hasn't
that
done it yet,
was-
it's abandoned property.
That was a choice that was made by that developer, and it's not relevant to this discussion, so.
It's not, there's
Are
nothing
there
historic
other
about it.
questions for this development team before we ask them to sit down?
I just want to ask you the comparability of the affordability of the other communities.
The 17 units that we have in our project that are affordable will be affordable to people that make 60% of the median income or less. Which,
Like about
so, I mean, it depends on the size of the units, but 60%, the median income for a family of 4 is approximately $100,000, so 60% would be $60,000 for a family of 4. For a single, it's around $41,000 or $42,000 a year. And it's 30% of your income per month can go to pay housing.
Net income.
So these are rental units, not,
We haven't made a final decision on rental or for sale, but
But the affordable units will stay exact.
so you're talking about taking the church over, so the church would be,
the church
But they
has
already
already
have a
purchased a
campus,
property
yeah.
in Maryland, and their campus is already out there. They're gonna continue to use the campus in Maryland and are closing down the facility in about 16 months. Is the timeline.
which church is this?
This is Scripture Cathedral at the corner of Ninth and Elm Street.
So do all of these proposals use that space from the church? Do they all?
No, this is the other one.
Just yours.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, this project is, this parcel is in Commissioner Wiggins' single-family district, and I would invite him to have the first round of comments, how he chooses to do so.
Wait, no, you have the fourth?
I'm sorry. Cut you off.
Sorry.
A&R is last in the reverse alphabetical order.
We will forgive you.
Okay.
And we just,
Yeah, just.
I won't start until we had a chance to put this up. Great. And we're gonna just pass those around. Some handouts.
Yeah,
May I ask you just?
it takes a minute for it.
Oh,
Okay, where do you have to? Yeah.
There we go.
Let's see, do you, yeah. Okay.
there we go.
Sorry.
Good evening. My name is Faraz Kumsi. I'm with A&R Companies. A&R has been around for more than 35 years. We've been established in 1977. We are responsible for some of the transformative projects in Washington, D.C. We operate mainly in Washington, D.C. and Baltimore. And we have about more than $1 billion in development and over 1 million square feet of commercial space, and we've built 8,500 residential units, and the majority of our work is focused on urban infill with a significant portion of mixed-use affordable housing. I'm going to go through the highlights of the presentation from last night. The way we approach any real estate project is more than just a building. Is how do we take a social program that's important for the neighborhood, and how we embed that into a development program that translates into a building. So our theme for the project, after talking with stakeholders and talking with some of the leaders in the community, is how we can enhance the family, community and local businesses into a project that could really enhance the historic nature of Shaw, but also relate to the future of the revitalization that has been carried out. And then Richard and his team has done a wonderful job over the past 14 years in that neighborhood. And so how do we, the big idea is here, how do we have two big themes, if Laura, if you can go on to the next, is how do we focus on, you have two streets, you have 8th and you have O. And Richard has said it when we agree with him in his presentation, is that we believe that O Street is the retail operation, is the retail street for that neighborhood, because for retail to be successful, we need retail on both sides of the street, and it's a narrower street. But how do you how do you enhance the residential feeling? What if you could create a community, and this is a metaphor, a community porch that opens for the rest of the community, so that activates the street and allows that residential nature. It's a very big, you have the city market at O, and you have the convention center. 8th Street is an opportunity to have that press pit and experience some of the history of Shaw. And so we took the parcel, instead of just carving a box and showing you our thought process, we said, how could we carve it in order to maximize the views, create different levels of terraces, setting it back, and in order to respect the historic anchor institution in that neighborhood, which is the church and our development. So if you, Laura, if you can go to some, our program is we focus on retail, create a community space, but really create here what we call a community porch, which is an introduction of public arts that we would work with Shaw Main Street, with Cultural DC, to curate public arts from the local neighborhood to celebrate the history of Shaw. And we'll show you an image how could this look like. And then we have the parking of 25 spaces for the church and 65 spaces for the unit, for the building. If you see here, this is 8th Street, and if you see the introduction of public art on that sidewalk, so you activate that sidewalk, but also we transition this to mirror the residential look and feel of that neighborhood, and then we set the building back. And if you go to some of the other, it really is a collection of buildings as well. You have the historic look of Shaw with the red brick. You have the more modern, the introduction of retail on O Street, but you also have the setback that creates 4 different terraces within the building that will be access to the people there. This is another rendering that shows the hotel here, that shows the lower nature of the 8th Street, and then the building sets back. And we tried to.
1 minute.
Okay. We tried to take some elements from the architectural from the church to introduce here on that side of the These are some of the vignettes of what this could look like. And so at the end of the day, this becomes an experience where you have the public art here, you have the retail here, and you have really the community space that's not just a dead space, that allows it to open up, not just for the church, but for the community, so it becomes a celebration of outdoor space where you can have community events, but open it up so people can have a direct connection with what's happening on 8th Street. That's it. I tried to go as fast as I can to keep it, but I'm sure I'm skipping some of the concepts or the themes, but that's our presentation.
Questions from members of the commission? Hearing none. Questions from members of the audience? Yes.
Do you mind if I introduce myself real quick?
Sure.
At this point in time? Yeah, good evening. My name is Joe Lappin. I'm the development manager for this project for the District of Columbia, managing the development of the site as well as the developer selection process. So just wanted to introduce myself in case you didn't catch me last night. The city, of course, is thrilled with the quality of the teams and the quality of the proposals. We will have the difficult task of ultimately selecting a team and a proposal and we're accepting input from any individuals or organizations. If you don't know how to get in touch with me, my information is in the solicitation, it's on our website. I'm happy to give you contact information. Alex has my contact information. And when you provide feedback, it's great when you focus on your priorities and your elements for the project. That's the most useful to us as we move forward. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
And you did that in less than 5 minutes.
That's right.
No AV, no.
No waiting around.
So now we will turn to Commissioner Wiggins for comments.
First of all, I want to thank Joe Payne for reaching out to me early on in the process. And I want to take the time to thank all of the developers who all have some high-quality presentations. We don't take this decision lightly, even though I believe we don't have the final say, but we don't take this decision lightly. So please know that we've given it a lot of thought. The last thing I was thinking about when I went to bed last night, one of the first things I was thinking about when I got up this morning, because the decisions that we make can impact somebody's life, not just a developer, but the people who would decide to buy there, live there, have jobs in those areas. So we don't take these decisions lightly. So that being said, after much thought, much contemplation, we take a break. We're going to give our vote individually, or how you want to do it?
I would suggest that each of us express their preferences and then we'll take a vote.
Okay. You go first? Or?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Well, that being said, after much thought, as I said before, number 1 will be 4 points. Number 2, A&R. 3, roadside. And 4, Madison.
You don't necessarily have to rank them, but give us your preference in this round at least.
Well, this round is in the order that I've given it. 4 points, A&R, roadside, and then Madison.
Okay.
I gave my opinion about 4 points, and it bothers me because that's the sticking point. But nonetheless, the other 3 was very hard for me to decide because the other 3 I thought were fantastic. With roadside development, I know their quality of work, and I appreciate the work that they do in the community. It is excellent. Not only is it the building and the structure and the amenities and parking and all this, it is the people that they impact. And roadside development has impacted the community in many ways and in many positive ways. And for that matter, I say that roadside is my choice.
Marge? We're going in SMD order.
Oh, okay. It was really difficult because I think each of the developers has presented something really, has wow factors. Each one of the projects suggested has a wow factor. I think that my vote would go number 1 to 4 points. I really like the idea of the 2 units becoming 1. I know that lady in the back doesn't like that, but I think that will benefit the community in a lot of ways, and it gives a lot more retail development, which I think is something, I mean, other than bars and restaurants, we need some things in our neighborhoods that are not food related or bar related. We need some stores and we need some other things. So that would be my first choice. I think that roadside probably would be my second choice. I enjoyed some of the things that they have, and I like the work they've already done, that I've taken a time to go in and look at. So those would be my 2 top choices.
All right, moving on to single member District 6. Alvin Jen.
First one is,
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? I couldn't hear that.
my first one is
4 points.
and second would be roadside. And third would be the shore,
That's A&R. Commissioner Alfreda, Judd?
I like roadside. The development,
design. And you guys, I like retail, like Mom said, retail, we need retail in a minute, I have that.
All right, next, and because the decision was made by the district government to emphasize O Street as a retail street, and because of the special opportunity to be able to comprehensively develop both of these parcels on either side of the alley, on the south side of the 800 block of O Street, I'm giving my nod to 4 points. I would say that roadside would be my second choice. Again, they've done exemplary work in the community, but I'm looking to maximize the retail opportunity there. I'm looking at potential for 20,000 square feet plus of retail there, trying to get a hardware store, trying to get a gym there, some other types of retail that we haven't been able to get in the neighborhood because we haven't had spaces large enough to accomplish that. Kevin?
Okay. Well, my first choice would be 4 points, for many of the reasons that my colleagues have expressed. I think it makes most sense to develop 2 properties instead of just one, when both properties would be developed in some fashion, and it would just make more sense to me to develop both properties together. And the amount of retail that it will provide will give the community many more options as far as what can be placed there than for a smaller retail footprint. I also like to say that if we were ranking it, Roadside came very close to my second choice, but my first choice is 4 points.
All right, so it appears that we have achieved a consensus, and I will move that Advisory Neighborhood Commission 6E support the bid for parcel 23 at 8th and O Streets Northwest, presented by the team led by 4 points, and that we communicate that support to the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development. And I would ask for a second.
I'll second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the part of members of the commission? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Let's do it by show of hands, just so we're clear. Let's have, ayes on the motion. Nays. Abstentions. I guess we've got 2 abstentions. So, oh, I'm sorry, no, there was, Alfreda Judd, I didn't see your hand go up. I'm sorry, I missed that. That was a yay? Okay. And motion carries 6-0. So congratulations to 6-1, sorry, 6-1. Thank you to all of the teams that competed, and again, it's important to remember that our recommendation is only that. The Deputy Mayor in this administration has frequently ignored the recommendations of advisory neighborhood commissions in land dispositions. I've been tracking 11 of them in the great administrations, and 0 for 11 have actually gone to the bidders that went, that had the support of the ANC. So we will have to see what happens ultimately there.
I have a question for the district members about the item that was taken off the agenda. About the, no, from the Fifth Street neighborhood. Talk how we got the motion.
All of them left, and I have to catch a train in New York.
I don't know how many people are here because of the development at 1534 Fifth Street. The developer realized that he would not get ANC support for his curb cut. And he asked for a postponement to talk to the neighbors to try to convince them or to garner some support from the neighbors before he came before the ANC. That's the reason for his postponement. Also, an inspector from the Public Space Committee is going to inspect the property to make sure that there is no illegal construction going on. If there is, the stop work order will be issued.
So this is going to the Public Space Committee in September, and then the applicant will come before the commission at our meeting. So we will have a full opportunity to vet any questions or issues.
He also says that he will be going door to door to talk to neighbors on Fifth Street and the surrounding area to talk about his project.
So my question is, why are they spending all this money now to do all this construction if they know they don't have support for a curb cut, and yet they're building a driveway? I think to me, it looks like they're planning to do something illegal, like do an illegal curb cut.
Well, I mean, if someone wants to put a driveway on their property, we can't stop them. We can stop a curb cut.
It doesn't make any sense if there's no curb cut.
You're right, it doesn't, but we can't tell someone you can't put a driveway without a curb cut on your property. If it's their property, we can stop them about the curb cut. But I know that he wants to get a curb cut, and if he doesn't, then he'll have a driveway or he will build
They'll
over
have to
it.
tear down all that construction and start.
And he may have
Or
to
you
do
can,
that.
put up a sculpture garden or something like that.
I mean, but if somebody has a lot of property and they put a driveway, and even though it doesn't make any sense, I mean, we can't tell them not to do it. But there is no curb cut right now, is there? Is there?
No.
Yeah, and he can't put a curb cut there, and so he has the right by the city to do so, and he doesn't have it, and he knows it, and he hasn't done it.
I find it odd that Kevin doesn't trust a member of the bar, Ms. Moldenhauer, and yet he wants us to have faith in this developer who's been horrible to his residents and neighbors so far, leaving trash outside, knocking down the fence, undermining the construction of the next door neighbors, and been totally little responsive to the neighbors who've had concerns, who've presented those concerns to him. We want the ANC to put a stop work order now until we can resolve all these issues, until he goes door to door and then talks to all the neighbors. Because I've spoken to most of my neighbors about this project. We do not want a curb cut, so that's totally off the table. So he needs to stop, revise the plans now, not build anything, because it's